Welcome, 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 beautiful souls. You are here at the Frequency of Abundance. I am your host with the most, Natan Verhovsky. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to have some fun in the sun. We are finishing up, rounding the bend on week 2 of season 7. Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, come join us, have some fun. On the weekends, restream a couple times a day so you can see the whole week's episode at your leisure. Motivational Monday started this week off with living as a legend in training. Transformational Tuesday was the ripple effect is already happening. Now, we had some fun on Wealth Wednesday. Pass it on. Energy, wisdom, wealth. And today on Thought Leadership Thursday, don't just build a brand. Build a bloodline of brilliance. That's where we're going to play. And then we're going to finish off the week tomorrow with Fearless Friday. Legacy requires the courage to be first. The cycle breakers are the architects of new headlines. So get on in. I'm going to put some contact information in the chat. Bop-de-bop. You can always pop in. Join us on Frequency of Abundance. Here, we are 7 days a week. And we're provided by the beautiful people over at Lure Creative Agency. They're the only not-for-profit public relations house in the world. And that's what gives us the ability to run the Frequency of Abundance and a couple other cool web series that we're doing. So we'll talk about some of that later. Right now, I want to get into the show. Today, on Frequency of Abundance, we're talking about how really a logo fades, a tagline gets replaced, but your standard, that echoes through generations. So this episode isn't about marketing tactics or Greek mountain tea. It's about your essence. We're not talking about building a personal brand to stand out. We're talking about building a bloodline of brilliance. I had a friend of mine say, that sounds like AI wrote it. I said, well, just because it rhymes and sounds catchy, sometimes people are pretty cool too. When we talk about a bloodline of brilliance, it's something that doesn't just look good online, but lasts offline, through time, through lives, through legacy. When we look at a bloodline, we look traditionally at family, at blood, right? And a bloodline. Ultimate proper legacy, ancestry. Okay. We look at brilliance. We look at brilliance in that proper intellectual exercise way. Okay. But when we put the two of them together, just because they rhyme, we get confused. A bloodline of brilliance isn't necessarily a genetic bloodline. And brilliance can be brilliance in a very situational, circumstantial way. If you're the first person in your family that ever made it through elementary school, some people wouldn't call that brilliance, but in your bloodline, that is absolute brilliance. You're the first one that broke that. A bloodline of brilliance is a completely different way to look at your legacy. And that's what we'll be talking about today. This episode is going to be for those that want to build beyond influence and into immortality. So, as we get into it, know that you can like, comment, and share. Put a little something in the chat. It helps the algorithm. Gets us out there to more people. Gets us into more hearts and minds. Gets us into the spaces where we can truly make a bigger impact. Now, let's look at what is a bloodline of brilliance. A brand is what people remember. A bloodline of brilliance is what people replicate. They want their own. You build a raving fan community, somebody who just paid to hear you speak in this town and then knows that tonight you're also going to travel 3 hours to the next town, and they're going to travel with you and pay full price to hear you speak again. That's a bloodline of brilliance. And somebody goes, oh my God, I can't believe he has such raving fans. I want that. That's why they want to replicate it. So define some characteristics about it. It's not about fame. It's about standard. Not just seen, it's felt, it's inherited, it's embodied. It's not what you leave behind, it's what you leave within people. So an example would be, think of the difference between a thought leader versus a values character and a carrier of such. So look at a thought leader would be somebody who gives that highest level overview past the trees because he can see past the forest. And then look at a values carrier as someone who carries the values. That is somebody who tends to the trees and ensures and nurtures them, both extremely important. Completely different points of view and a completely different zoom in, zoom out level of magnification. Think of Apple under Steve Jobs. Not just design, but devotion. Or the Rockefeller family. It's not just wealth, it's philosophy. There's different ways to play that are going to show you where you're coming from and why. Exercise number 1. All right, a little Greek mountain tea. Get the voice all pearly. Let's do a legacy audit. List 5 traits that you want to be felt in every person that you lead, that you mentor, that you raise, or that you impact. So if you lead them through work, if you mentor them offline in your personal life, if you raise them as children or people connected to you, or you just impact them through everything that you are without even knowing that you impact them. Some examples would be discipline, kindness, creative courage, truth-telling, faith in the unseen. Anything that can get you closer to that legacy. So let's look at building beyond the brand. Brands are temporary. Bloodlines are eternal. Here's how to move from surface to substance. Let's look at the 3 tiers of brilliance. Number 1, identity. Number 2, imprint. Number 3, inheritance. Number 1, identity. Who you are is so important. There's those 3 faces that I've read about where it's, the face that you have to everybody that's looking, the face that you have, the mask that you wear when no one's looking, and then the mask that you wear with yourself. So in identity, who are you when no one's watching? Not what you do, what you stand for. Identity. 2, imprint. What do people feel in your presence? Energy is going to outlast words. The way you made me feel is going to be eternal. Imprint. 3, inheritance. What do people carry forward from you without even realizing it? This is your true product. And what's that expression? I'm a product of the product. Oh, well, I would hope so. If you're not, that's an odd thing to do, right? You're selling something, but you're not even a consumer of it yourself. Let's look at an action step. Create a legacy mission statement. Just 1 sentence. I want to be remembered as the person who always fill in the blank. Who always cared, who always tried, who always helped. Fill in the blank. Who always what? That's you. That's your legacy. Take a look inside. See if it's something that is part of you right now. That's where we want you to shine. Let's look at this next section. The invisible transference. So what you embody gets transferred. Your nervous system is always transmitting a frequency. Are you aware of that? Last season we were doing energetic leadership, the whole season 6. And it's what defines a true bloodline of brilliance. So look at when leaders are inconsistent. Look at their teams become fragmented. Look at when leaders hold integrity, even in silence. The room shifts. If we wanted to do an emotional audit, what 3 emotions do you want to be contagious from your leadership? Oh man, I want people to feel the energy. I want them to feel compassion. I want them to feel, what are the 3 emotions that you want to be contagious from your leadership? Let me know. Pop those in the chat. Give us a little love, like, comment, share. Thank you. Now, let's audit how often you actually express them daily. Because the odds are you're not expressing them enough. You're like, I'm expressing them too much. I'm pretty sure it's quite the opposite. And that's where we usually don't want to push ourselves on others too much, and it's understandable. But there comes a place and time when you need to. Now, speaking of pushing yourself on others, if you're doing that and you're noticing that you're hunting whales and it's not working, and maybe it used to, or maybe it never did, and now it's just not, or maybe it never did because you just started and you're like, I don't want to waste a lot of time, energy, or money. I'd love to have somebody who knows what they're doing hold my hand and take me through this. If you're doing good things, if you're hunting whales, if you're looking for C-suite leaders, executive owners, all the founders and the fun stuff, I'm going to introduce you for a minute to Allura Creative, our beautiful host and the only not-for-profit public relations house in the world. Their job is to blow a dog whistle directly to C-suite. They do it in the most unique way, so it's a proprietary process, and it's something that is just one-off. So we handpick the people we work with. If you have a meaning, a purpose, a message, we'd love to talk with you.
I'm excited to introduce you to Allura Creative Agency, the world's first and only not-for-profit public relations powerhouse. Our mission is to increase your brand's visibility, credibility, and extend your global audience. In short, we hunt the whales for you. Our proprietary methodology blows a dog whistle to C-suite executives, leaders, founders, and owners across any industry. Welcome to our Executive Engagement Engine trademark. That's our secret sauce. It includes 3 proprietary processes: our Engagement Ignition trademark pre-event outreach process, our Commitment Catalyst trademark butts and seats process, and our Fortune Follow-ups trademark post-event outreach. These ensure the highest level of interest, virtual attendance, and follow-up conversations. As the world's first and only not-for-profit public relations powerhouse, what's our promise to you? Unparalleled commitment to transparency, ethical engagement, and impactful results. Partner with Allura Creative Agency and experience transformative executive engagement. Book a time to speak with us today, and here's to the evolution of your brand.
I believe all brands should be evolving. I think we should always be looking at ways that we can improve ourselves, ways that we can improve our messaging. Because if you're truly serving your clients, whatever it is that you do, you'd always want to serve them better, wouldn't you? You'd always want to delight them. You'd always want to make sure that they feel heard and loved and felt. If that's true, welcome to the Bloodline of Brilliance, because that is how you do business. That's the way that you keep clients for life. Now, we talked about the 3 emotions that you want to be contagious from your leadership and how often you express them daily, and you should probably do it more. Let's look at some rituals that encode legacy. You don't build a bloodline of brilliance through these big moments. You build it through daily rituals. They encode your values into your behavior. So examples of legacy encoding rituals. Writing a letter to your future great-grandchildren each month. And I go, wow. Imagine telling them what these times are like. In your world, you're like, this is amazing. And they're like, oh my goodness. It's like 1882. I want you to think about holding standards meetings with yourself. Hold yourself accountable, even if you don't have somebody else that will. Do a weekly review. What did I teach just by being this week? Focus on that. Let yourself go and understand that you focusing on what did you teach this week is also what you learned. Each morning ask yourself, what would the elder version of me do today? You're like, oh, would he do the right thing? Would he do the wrong thing? Would he do the fun thing? Would he do the right? Like, where would he go? What would he do? Older and wiser, right? Look at generational wealth. Let's look at wisdom. If everybody's chasing wealth, but brilliance isn't in the numbers, it's in the wisdom. So legacy isn't built with money alone. It's built with meaning. You can try to build it with money, but it'll just look like you're opulent and grandiose and that you just bought a lot of stuff. Okay, if that's what your legacy is, buying a lot of stuff. Abundance mindset. If we did a reframe, You're not just a business owner. You're a cultural architect. You're not just a thought leader. You're a future ancestor. Look at a legacy prompt. What book or video or even ritual would you want your descendants to find and say, oh wow, I can't believe this is about my great grandmother, grandfather. This was the moment it all changed in our family. Oh wow, that's incredible. That's where you get to play. You get to say to yourself every single day, wow, that's so pivotal a moment in our ancestry that if that didn't happen, now forget about the obvious, poof, I wouldn't be here. Oh my God, none of us would be here. That big a deal. And finding those pivotal moments and then realizing that you yourself are going through those right now in your life as well. We all are. It's absolutely essential. And that's how you can get your bloodline of brilliance. So if your brand disappeared tomorrow, what would still whisper your name? Every action today is a seed. When it grows and it grows into a forest, what forest are you growing? Find yourself in that space. Standard isn't what you teach, it's what you tolerate. Every day the leaders, they aren't followed, they're remembered. That way your voice is going to echo, and it's going to show that I'm in alignment. It's going to come from that source of discipline, but eventually it's going to be so ingrained in you that the discipline is going to be in your DNA. And then it's going to be left to your legacy so that anyone else next to you in your DNA, in your legacy, gets it. It's how you teach the values of where you're coming from. So unless they're mimicked unconsciously, no one will ever know you. Abundance, in that sense, is going to be how they know you. If they mimic you unconsciously, it's not what you gather abundantly, it's going to be what you leave behind. You're not hoarding, you're not bringing it together for yourself. That's where you know that your influence is going to fade, but the frequency that you leave behind is going to stay. And it happens every time you walk into a room, it becomes a part of your history. So enter consciously. That'll be where I think if the next generation really copies your worst day, will they still win? Ask yourself if you can be judged not on your wins, but on your losses. And on your worst day, is it still a win? That, I think, would be a proper measure of truth. I think that would give proper insight and clarity and put it into context. You don't need to be famous. You need to be felt. You need to be focusing on the proper you. It's about making those decisions that even your future grandchildren will thank you for. It's not just investing in their future foundation or fund or something cute like that. It's really about legacy. It's not the content that you post. It's the content that you live. Sometimes it might even be something you don't post. Imagine, right? Imagine leaving something just to you. Cookie, I know. You're the ancestor that someone is already praying for. You have these problems, you have these issues. I know. These horrible obstacles, but somebody would give their left arm to be in your situation and to have your obstacles and your horrible problems. So don't just be, building that brand. Build that bloodline of brilliance. Build something that doesn't just speak to the market, but sings through those generations. You let your values be louder than your voice. You let your frequency be higher than your followers. You let your leadership outlive your lifetime. And that's where you're really going to open up and go, bloodline, far beyond me. I'm like, correct. Where your culture shines from is going to be pivotal. And I do want you to know that if you happen to be at that blessed place, I did mention that Allura Creative is also sponsoring our sister webcast, The Voices That Lead. This is where if you're a leader and you have legacy, you help others become limitless. and you want to share how you serve others that you lead, oh, I'd love to have you on the show. Take a minute, take a look, let me know if this resonates with you.
Ever wonder what sets real leaders apart? It's not the corner office, it's the impact they make. Welcome to the Voices That Lead podcast with Natan Verkovsky, where we dive deep with leaders who put service first. These aren't just CEOs or big names. They're people making a difference, building legacies through acts of kindness, mentorship, and heart. Every episode you'll hear powerful stories, straight from those who lift others up and inspire change. Looking for practical advice, authentic conversations, or just a spark to unleash your own limitless potential? You'll find it here. Because leadership isn't just about where you end up, it's about who you help along the way. Join the community and get inspired. Reach out to be a featured guest on the program. Leaders, Legacy, Limitless. Subscribe to the Voices That Lead podcast. Join us as a speaker and let others be inspired by you. Become the leader you're meant to be.
I do believe you're meant to be a leader. I think it's fundamental, not just because you need to lead others, but because when you go through that process, every good general is a good soldier. Become a good soldier, become someone that understands how and why this works, and then you become a great general. And you don't have to use a military analogy, you can use any analogy. You can become a principal of the school, you might want to be a great teacher first. You can become a great judge, you might want to be a great lawyer first. There's a lot of different ways that you can play with that. So I want you to think of your culture as created by what you correct and what you celebrate. You don't have to tolerate everything. You don't just write your values, you ritualize them. Every spoken truth that you have becomes a pattern in your lineage. That's why it's important that you speak. It's important that people understand and hear you, that you're recorded, that you're recited, that you're scribed. Your silence also teaches too, but you got to be intentional when you're silent, not just deep and lost in thought. And people are thinking, oh, he's being quiet or she's being quiet for a reason. No, you're just wool gathering. I need you to be intentional with what you're not saying as much as you're intentional with what you are saying. That's where legacy isn't built in comfort zones. It's going to be forged in the decisions no one sees. Strong personal standard is going to be your loudest way to play. That's why what you allow becomes your lineage. Very careful. Choose wisely. Forget about this perfection nonsense. Just aim for embodied clarity where you can feel that legacy doesn't ask you to be loud. It asks you to be true. It lets you focus on where you're coming from and why. Know that we're here for you all week. Tomorrow is going to be the end of week 2, halfway through season 7. Fearless Friday. Legacy requires the courage to be first. Cycle breakers are the architects of new timelines. That's going to be so exciting and fun. Can't wait to have you there. Tune in with us 7 days a week. Pop in if you'd like the wonderful Allure Creative to shine a spotlight, help you hunt whales. Pop in if you'd like an elite energy coach who's been doing this for about 30 years. Had about 20,000 people come through his hands. Started with Olympians, Cirque du Soleil acrobats, national sports teams. Wrote a couple best-selling books, Moments of Power, and Personal Momentum. I'd love to have a one-on-one with you. Pop in if you'd like to be a guest over on Voices That Lead podcast and help me rise the tide for all boats. Until then, I'm Natan Verhovsky, and as always,